Alright, Tina guys. In this video, I'm really excited to show you a personal programming project that I've been working on. If you're new here and you don't know who I am, my name is Shivan. I'm an optometrist working in Aotearoa, New Zealand, and I've been working as an optometrist for 6 years, which is a bit interesting because there's nothing to do with technology or programming. But as you know, I'm interested in transitioning from optometry into tech, and what's the best way to transition by creating a personal project. So I'm really excited to kind of showcase it to you today. I'll give you a little bit of a quick synopsis, and basically what this project is, it's making weightlifting results web browsable. That's as simple as we can put it. So the current problem is that most of the results of weightlifting are held in PDF or Excel files. We want to make that web browsable. Awesome, so you know roughly how the project works. Let's jump onto the computer and I'll run through how the code works, all the problems I had, as well as the challenges I had to overcome and how I enjoyed the project overall. So guys, we'll hop onto my computer. I'll be able to demonstrate how this project works. I won't go into too much detail. I mean, I did one sort of run through and I got about a quarter of a way through and I was almost up to 15 minutes. So I'll kind of save you guys the boredom. But if you're interested in knowing more about the project, I might just comment down below. I might do another video or I might do some more blog posts and sort of explain the project in further detail. But I try and run through things in sort of a not too shallow way, but the idea is sort of to give you inspiration to build your own project, or just so you have some sort of kind of grasp of what's to be expected or the problems that you might get into. So the first thing is we've got to outline the problem. What was the problem? And I found that the results of weightlifting in New Zealand were not web browsable. And if you're wondering what weightlifting is, I've got the perfect video for you. So if you go to my Instagram, you'll see me lifting. So weightlifting's composed of two lifts. You've got the snatch and clean and jerk. So right now, I'm doing the clean and jerk, which is the second lift. You're given 3 attempts at each particular discipline, which is snatch and clean and jerk. And your best lift is taken out of the 2. That's your total. And whoever has the biggest total wins. That's what weightlifting is. And if we look at the current state of New Zealand weightlifting, we don't have a kind of web browsable format to look at particular results. So you have to download a PDF. It's all right. I mean, it's better than nothing. So if you want to look at someone's results, I'll bring it across here. So you can see here the results here in PDF format. Now I want you to contrast this to we'll go through IWF. So IWF, how the results are constructed is you can go on a particular, so you go result by event, and I can look at a particular event. So this is the 2022 Junior World Championships. I can click on a particular lifter. Oh, there's a bit of a problem there. Oh, there you go. I can click on a particular lifter and I can see what they've lifted in. This is similar to Australia's website, which I think is a piece of art. So whoever designed the Australian website is a genius. And if I go to a particular competition, or not competition, but if I go to, the particular competition, here's another competition. And I hope this person doesn't mind me looking through their stats. It is all public, by the way. And you can see a graph. I can see where they've lifted, their particular club, their age group. You can look at their lifts over time, which is absolutely amazing. And it even has what sort of competitions they've been in. So this person's competed quite a lot when they started. Even has their personal best, which I think is really amazing. And that's something to aspire to. It won't be in this intricate detail, but somewhere close. I'm pretty proud of what I've come up with. So here it is here. And we're going to click on a particular lift. I can go to a particular session and I can click on a lifter. I hope this lifter doesn't mind. He's a close friend. So we've got the results from previous lifts, and we've got the competitions that this particular individual has competed in. Not all the competitions are up. I'm still in that process, but that's kind of how it works. So that's sort of the overview. And that was the problem that I found. And I was also inspired by other sports like cricket and football, where you can get previous results, you can look at people's statistics, you can play around with the numbers, and it builds a story. It tells a story about weightlifting. And we don't currently have that with what we have at the moment. And also this acts as a personal motivation as well. So I want to build an end-to-end project. So I've always done these really small, tiny projects, but I think this will be quite a big thing. I've got to make basically a full web application from end to end. And I really wanted to challenge myself, and I wanted to build this project and not give up. Because I've done projects before and they've gone to the graveyard. I really, really wanted to make this happen. I really wanted to get something, like some sort of minimal viable product, and I think I did. So that's kind of why I did this project. And also, guys, nerds lift heavy too, and I'm one of those nerds. So the basic approach of this project is to create a basic CRUD app. That's what it is. So CRUD means create, read, update, delete. And we're going to be using that. We're going to be using what's called a REST API, which is able to speak in that kind of CRUD language. And we're going to be using Django REST framework on the back end. It's going to be talking to a PostgreSQL database. And we're going to be using React, TypeScript, and Tailwind on the front end. So how it works is we've got our data, which is stored on, well, I'll show you the architecture here. We've got the data here, which is stored on the PostgreSQL database. The API, which is created with Django REST framework, that allows us to talk to the database, to our front end. And also I'm going to create a wrapper. And what this wrapper is, it's supposed to be used by people who know how to program. They want to be able to extract data, and they want to be able to look at how if they want to perform their own statistics and things like that. How it works is Django is really powerful because it has what's known as an ORM, or Object Relational Mapper. So what that does, you can basically write your Python, which is written in Python. That's why I chose Django. You can keep writing in Python, and you don't have to write in SQL. It's able to translate your Python code into SQL. So you can store things in a database, read things from a database, do really complex query stuff, and still write in Python. You don't have to go and switch to writing in SQL, which is good. So, you can stick to one particular language. Well, you're going to see we have two particular languages in my case. And the big difference between Django and Django REST Framework is that in Django, you have URLs, which create routers to sort of differentiate between particular types of kind of URL calls. So if you've got a GET request or a POST request or a PUT request, and that links to a view set because it's able to differentiate between the two. And that view set allows us to link then to a serializer. I think I've spelt it wrong. Serializer, and that spits out JSON data. So that's how the API works. And that API is taken, those endpoints, and that JSON data is taken by React, and that turns into something that's nice and visible and something that we can browse. And some important libraries that I discovered thanks to YouTube is React Query and React Table. So React Query is basically a way to cache your data. It can give you error messages if the API is not loading. It can give you a loading state if the API is loading. So it can do all that for you without having to code it yourself. It also caches the request as well. So let's say someone's got a particular request. Instead of requesting it again, it's cached that data. And we got this thing called React Table, which prints the information in nice, neat tables. The problem I have is turning the PDFs into something that API can understand. So you can't just send the PDF to the API and understand it. You're going to have to break it down. And I've been using Jupyter Notebooks for this. I think PDFs are quite notoriously hard to turn into data that's easily able to understand by a computer. So I've actually had to use something called AWS TextRack to turn the PDF. It looks at the PDF as an image, and it's able to identify characters in that image, and it's able to spit out information that I can easily use with pandas. And then that's why I created the API wrapper as well, because that wrapper, I can sort of package that data, use the wrapper to send it to the API, and the API is able to store it onto the database using a PUT request. And that's the create part of the CRUD application. The challenges I found was, this was fun. It was fun to make. Like, I enjoyed every single time I did it. There were some times where I thought it would be impossible, but I'd go to sleep and I'd wake up the next day and figure out the solution. So my kind of take-home message for that is, even if you think it's impossible, just keep working at it. And sometimes you would think the outcome you want is probably quite complex. So if we go back to the examples we had, the websites here, trying to copy Australia's sort of way they've done things is quite difficult. So that's why I wanted to make the most basic thing possible. All I wanted to do was, can you search up a competition? That's all I wanted to do, was if you could search up a competition, and you can search up a competition. And if you can go through a session, you can do that. And if you want to look up a particular lifter, for example, my friend, we can look through their previous results, and I can build upon that later and later. So I really want to get just an MVP showing. And that's kind of what I wanted to do. Now, another thing I did find was, I didn't know if I was doing things right. So I've never developed in a team, I've never worked in a company before. I don't have a senior developer kind of looking at me and telling me what to do exactly. So I don't know if I'm doing things right. So, I mean, if you guys are experts and want to look through the code, please have a look through the code and just be nice giving me feedback, because I've never had any experience with this at all. So what models is, it's basically a way of representing your data so it can interact with your database. And we can see on here, the convention, I think, is this is a particular kind of field. So imagine you've got a table. This is a field. The lift links to a particular athlete in a particular session, and you got things like a lottery number, the body weight, and what the lifts were. So, for example, their snatch, what the weight was, etc. And if we go down to here, I've got customization, so custom fields like this will turn your snatch into something that helps later on. Even got some validation steps. So if we come down here, I think this is like a 200 line sort of file, which is makes it quite ugly. So this is something I don't know if you should do. So I don't know where to put all this in the code. So that's kind of something I don't know what to do, and I don't know where to put it. So that's an example of not knowing what I'm doing. And that's the danger of working by yourself on a project. But I guess if you shoulder off to the world, then you're going to get some feedback that's going to make you a better developer. And in the future, I'd like to present this in a meetup. So I live in Palms North at the moment, and we do have tech meetups. So I can present this project in a meetup, and it might inspire someone to make their own project. It sort of brings discussion around Django, which I'm really passionate about. Django as the web framework for Python. And finally, I want to show this to Weightlifting New Zealand. So I've done that, and they're pretty interested in the project and the concept, and it's kind of interesting to see where I'll take this. So guys, thanks for sticking around this far into the video. I really kind of hope that this sort of project inspires you to kind of make your own project. Please drop a comment down below if you've done something similar, if you made a really big project. Please kind of share your knowledge. If you have any feedback for me, let me know in the comments down below. And as always guys, stay focused and talk soon.